Mr. Obama said that in his closing statement, so Mr. Romney could not reply. Kind of sneaky, but effective. On the negative side, the president had two very weak moments. Romney won. The governor hectored the president over his energy policy.
In the last 4 years, you cut permits and licenses on federal land and federal waters in half.
Not true, Governor Romney.
So how much did you cut them by?
Not true.
By how much did you cut them by then?
Governor, we have actually produced more oil.
No. How much did you cut licenses and permits on federal land and federal waters?
Governor Romney, here's what we did. There were a whole bunch of oil companies.
No, I had a question, and the question was, how much did you cut them by?
You want me to answer the question?
How much did you cut them by?
I'm happy to answer the question.
Now, the problem with that sequence is that Romney did not look presidential. He looked like a cable news analyst. He should have simply presented the facts and let the chips fall. Now, the president looked bad trying to answer Romney's question about why gas prices
analysieren. Gestern schon eine Debatte gewesen, weißt du?
He said, when I took office, the price
Jetzt sie analysieren.
180, 186. Why is that? Because the economy was on the verge of collapse. Because we were about to go through the worst recession since...
This was an act of terror.
That's what I said.
You said in the Rose Garden, the day after the attack, it was an act of terror. It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
I want to make sure we get that for the record, because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder, Candy?
He did call it an act of terror.
The videotape doesn't lie. Candy Crowley and the president were correct.
No acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation, alter that character, or eclipse the light of the values that we stand for. Today we mourn for more Americans who represent the very best
Sieht so grusig aus, die
of the
Clinton.
United States of America. We will not waver. Job in a very dangerous situation.
That's not what the guy asked. With all due respect, the president dodged a very important question about who pulled two security teams out of Libya in August. He just simply dodged it. It was embarrassing. After that, the Libyan deal got even worse.
You said in the Rose Garden, the day after the attack, it was an act of terror. It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
I want to make sure we get that for the record, because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder, Candy?
He did call it an act of terror. It did as well take 2 weeks or so for the whole idea of there being a riot out there about this tape to come out. You're correct about that.
Miss Crowley, with all due respect, because I like her, totally blew it. 100% blew it. All right. Candy Crowley helped the president.
Typisch so
Actually
geil.
helped him. When she should
Alrighty,
have
das
stayed
ist doch
neutral.
krank sein.
The president did not specifically call the murder of the American ambassador in Libya a terrorist attack. In the Rose Garden, he was speaking generically about the nation.
Siehst du, sagt etwas anderes und das sagt etwas anderes.
Especially on Romney's economic plan.
Now, Governor Romney was a very successful investor. If somebody came to you, Governor, with a plan that said, here, I want to spend $7 or $8 trillion, and we're going to pay for it, but we can't tell you until maybe after the election how we're going to do it, you wouldn't have taken such a sketchy deal. And neither should you, the American people.
President Obama also reminded voters of what the real Mitt Romney says on the campaign trail, not the Washington whitewash from moderate Mitt.
When Governor Romney stands here after a year of campaigning, when during a Republican primary,
Mr. Obama's press secretary, Jay Carney, said it, so it doesn't really add up in the body of what happened. And we'll show you more of that Cork interview later in the program. So summing up, President Obama regained some momentum, but did not diminish his opponent, who has established himself as the president's equal on policy. With the third debate looming next month.
George Bush didn't propose turning Medicare into a voucher. George Bush embraced comprehensive immigration reform. He didn't call for self-deportation. George Bush never suggested that we eliminate funding for Planned Parenthood.
So hat jetzt von George Bush, das ist past.
There are
Boring,
differences between Governor
boring.
Romney and
Das ist immer der alte Trick von sich selber ablenken, weißt du? Von anderen seine Fehler reden.
to a more extreme
Gell?
place when it comes to
Das ist der alte
social
Trick.
This onslaught
Boring.
President Obama put Mitt Romney in a rough position. Just like his answer on Libya, Romney had to move out of his comfort zone to respond to these allegations. He tried to say that he would be tough on China, and President Obama blasted him.
Trade. I'll crack down on China. President Bush didn't.
When he talks about getting tough on China, yeah, keep in mind that Governor Romney invested in companies that were pioneers of outsourcing to China.
Then Romney tried to define his self-deportation policy on immigration. Again, President Obama knocked Romney off of his game.
Self-deportation says let people make their own choice. What I was saying is we're not going to round up 12 million people, undocumented, illegals, and take them out of the nation. Instead, let people make their own choice. And if they find that they
Seems like you guys got a little.
they can't find the job they want, then they'll make a decision to go a place where they have better opportunities.
His top advisor on immigration is the guy who designed the Arizona law, the entirety of it. Not E-Verify, the whole thing. That's his policy.
Romney was on unsure footing for most of the night.